Hello, how are you? So recently I was thinking that it would be really fun to do one of those like 24-hour reading challenges, but then I was thinking it would also be fun to do that with crochet, like a 24-hour crochet challenge. So I asked you over on my Instagram what you would rather see first, and a lot of you said that you would rather see some combo of both. So the people asked, and I'm here to deliver. These 24 hours are going to be split into 3 quadrants, 8-hour increments. For the first 8 hours, we're going to see how much I can read and crochet at the same time. For the next 8 hours, we're going to see how much I can just crochet. And then for the next 8 hours, we're going to see how much I can just read. I'm not going to be staying awake for 24 hours for a few reasons. Number 1, I don't hate myself. Number 2, I have 2 toddlers. Number 3, I have 4 chronic illnesses. So, I will not be staying awake for 24 hours. I'm not going to do that to myself. However, I am going to set a timer every time I start either reading or crocheting or both, and we will add that up to be 24 hours total. So there will be 24 hours of reading and crocheting happening here. And I guess then at the end we can just, compare the data, see if reading and crocheting at the same time really is a detriment to me and I should stop doing it, or if it helps me read and crochet faster. And hopefully, dare I say it, I can maybe finish my sweater. Dare I say it? Let me show you it in just a second. The books that I have on the docket, I have 3 books checked out from the library right now. I have Tortilla Flat by John Steinbeck, which I am partway through. I think I'm only like 3 chapters in though. And then A Desolation Called Peace by Arkady Martine. This is the second book. The first one is a memory called Empire, which I really, really enjoyed, and I've talked about a ton on this channel, so we'll go over the plot when we get there. And then the third book that I have checked out is On Writing by Stephen King. I've never read any Stephen King's, but I feel like his nonfiction is the place to start for me, and maybe just the way to go in general, because I'm not a huge horror person. I've heard most of his books get extremely gross. So, that's not my vibe. But, anyway, let me show you my crochet project. Okay, I'm currently making the I Smell Snow sweater by Just the Worsted. This is the front panel. So, it's crochet. Sorry, excuse me. It's crochet, but it's made to look more knit. So it's made vertically instead of horizontally, like most crochet is like choom choom choom. This is like choom choom choom. So this is the front panel. The front panel is finished, and then I am partway through. Sorry if you hear my children. They're supposed to be having quiet time and they're being kind of crazy, but it's fine. I am partway through the back panel. I've just started the collar portion of the back panel. So basically the way this has worked is you make the front back panel, sew the shoulders together, and then you block it. And then you do the collar and the sleeves, and you block each sleeve like at a time before you make the next one and before you add them to the sweater overall, which is an interesting method of blocking. I've never done anything like it. So that's what I've been working on. I am very much enjoying this beautiful red, and this yarn is a 1 pound ball. That's just the, what's it called? The Lion's brand? Let me check. Yes, it's Lion brand yarns. I got it at Michael's. So it was like 15 bucks for a 1 pound thing of yarn. And I got 2 pounds just in case, because reading the pattern, it seemed like I was going to need that much, but I don't know. We'll see. I might have a lot left over, which would be fine, because I really love this color. So, that's where we're at. I'm trying to decide what I want to start with. Honestly, the mood that I'm in is I just want to sit and watch Gilmore Girls and crochet, but I haven't read in a while. I feel like I haven't been in a reading mood until I sit down and read, and then I'm like, all I ever want to do is read. So, I don't know. I'm not sure what to start with. And my kids are being kind of crazy right now, which makes it hard for me to focus on reading. I'm going to ponder for a minute, and then I'll let you know what I end up going with, and we will start a timer. I'm going to just keep track of everything on my phone so that I don't lose track of it. Here we go. Let's do this. Let's spend 24 hours crocheting and reading. The dream. Okay. I have decided that I'm going to crochet and read at the same time to begin with. We're starting on row 35 for my crochet, and page 39, 20% through on Tortilla Flat by John Steinbeck. To be honest, I guess I'm 5 chapters in. I'm not super clicking with this yet, but I've loved all of his other books that I've read, so I'm really hoping I click with this one a little more. But yes, that's where we're starting. Here we go. So I've been reading and crocheting for an hour, and I crocheted 6 rows and read 76 pages. So, pretty good. Definitely, I know I read faster than that, but I'm just really not into this book that much, which is pretty sad for me because I really love John Steinbeck's other works. This one is kind of his version of a retelling of King Arthur, but it's just kind of mostly these guys being drunk all the time. And if they're not drunk, they want wine. And not a lot is happening. Which, like, not a lot happens in, like, Cannery Row either. But there are some things that are driving the plot. And, like, with that book, I felt so much more invested in the characters. And in this book, I don't really care about the characters as much. Which is kind of like the first time that's ever happened to me when reading a Steinbeck. So, this might be my first Steinbeck flop, which is really sad for me. But yeah. So I'm not super into it. I think I'm like 56% through. Let me check. 56% through. I think that if I like sat down and powered through, I could finish it pretty quickly. But I'm just not in the mood to do that right now. So, right now I'm going to switch over into some crochet only time and watch some Gilmore Girls and crochet for a little while before I have to go get my husband from work. I don't have a ton of time before I have to go get him from work, but we'll spend a little time watching some Gilmore Girls and just crocheting, because that's what I'm in the mood for right now. Hello, hi. To be honest, I'm not sure when I checked in with you last. I think it might have been 2 days ago. Sorry about that. Here's the thing. I got a migraine and I was really not feeling well on Wednesday? Yes, on Wednesday. I was like not feeling well at all. And then yesterday was Thursday and I had to film a video because I got all the schedules mixed up in my brain and for some reason thought that I was going to be able to post this video today, which is absolutely like not, why did I think that? I don't know. So I was like, oh crap, I don't have a video ready for Friday. I need to film and edit a video. So I did that yesterday. So now today we're jumping back into like the actual swing of things, and to update you, I am at a total of 1 hour for crocheting and reading. For crochet only, I'm at almost 3 hours. And for reading only, I'm at 36 minutes and 20 seconds. So, yeah. I need to bolster up my reading only time. And also my crocheting and reading time. But I have spent a lot of time crocheting only because I have honestly just been in the mood to watch Gilmore Girls. And let's talk about it for a second, because this is my first time ever watching Gilmore Girls. I'm sorry, if you don't care about Gilmore Girls, you can skip this part. But I have to talk about it with somebody. So, it's my first time ever watching it. I'm like halfway through season 3, so no spoilers, even though I kind of know some of the things that happen. Rory's kind of dumb. Like, obviously she's very smart, but she's stupid with life stuff. And I like Jess more than I like Dean, but I feel like they really don't go that well together. And the miscommunication between these two is driving me up the wall. I'm like, just talk to each other. Just stop being so prideful for a second and talk to each other. And Rory, stop bringing up Dean so much. Stop being so obsessed with Dean. You're not dating him anymore. Anyway, also I didn't like Dean though. I want to clarify that. So I know people ask like if you're on Team Jess or Team Dean. I'm on team neither of them right now. I like Jess more as a character because why do people like Dean? And that's the other thing. Why did Lorelai like Dean so much? Because she's like, oh, Dean was such a perfect boyfriend. He was such a perfect first boyfriend for you, and he spoiled you rotten and all these things. Dean was a hothead. He was yelling at her all the time, and when they went to that dance and he was like, I'm gonna kill you, Tristan, that is not attractive. That was like, whoa, Dean, you got some anger issues. And it seems like if they continue in this manner, you're gonna take them out on somebody that you shouldn't, like Rory. Just saying. I'm just saying. Like, Dean has way too many anger issues for everybody to love him so much. That's what I don't get. But I also don't agree with the way that Rory just, like, led him on. That's not cool either. And I do know that Rory is, like, a serial cheater, and that's something that continues to happen throughout the show, because I've heard a lot of discourse about it. But, anyway, that's my Gilmore Girls update. It's hard to turn off. Like, it's an addicting show. I see why everybody loves it so much. Reading update. Let me update you on reading instead of Gilmore Girls. So I finished Tortilla Flat by John Steinbeck, and I didn't like it. I am so bummed out about that. This is the first Steinbeck that I've read that I haven't liked. This is the fifth Steinbeck that I've read. The other 4 I really, really enjoyed. But this one just fell really flat for me. So it's kind of like supposed to be a retelling of King Arthur. And Danny is the character that's like supposed to be King Arthur. But I don't know. This one really just felt like a lot of his plots are kind of meandering. I feel like you could kind of compare it to Cannery Row almost, in the sense of like Cannery Row you have like this kind of group of men who are like doing whatever and they don't have a lot of purpose. And then in this one also like a group of men doing whatever. But I feel like the difference between it is Cannery Row, I feel like I really got attached to all the characters and I cared about them and there were things to care about them. And in Tortilla Flat, the characters were just, I didn't like any of them. I wasn't rooting for them in any way, and they were just like drunk all the time. And like I get that it took place during the Prohibition and they had just come back from the war and there's a lot of things going on there, right? Like there's a lot that you can digest with that and look into and dive into. Like these men obviously had been through some horrible things, and so there's a reason that they turn to alcohol, right? It's a tale as old as time. I mean, people do that all the time. So that makes sense, but it just was not pleasant to read about, and it was hard for me to, like, really care about them or root for them in any way. And I didn't understand why they all loved Danny so much, because I didn't think he was that good. Like, I didn't think that he really... He lets them live with him. Like, he lets this big group of men live with him in his house for free. So I guess maybe that's why they're all, like, obsessed with him. But they're like, Danny's a saint, Danny's a king. And also, I don't know, maybe I need to read more about it. I think I will do some more research about it. Whoa! A bird just flew right by my window. That was cool. Sorry. If you're new here, I often get distracted by birds outside my window because I really love birds. And I feel like I look like the type of person who really loves birds. And I am. Anyway, what was I saying? Oh, that I think I am going to, like, look more into this and do some research about kind of why Steinbeck wanted to write it and his thoughts on it and stuff, because it's like, as far as Arthurian legend goes, like the Knights of the Round Table, they're known for, oh my gosh, there's another bird. Okay, hold on. Look at that little bird. Oh, it's so cute. Oh, he came back. Hi, bird. And he's so pretty. And there's also, why are so many of our chickens out? They're not supposed to be out. They're probably fine, though. As long as a hawk doesn't come around, am I right? Wow. Oh, he's on the roof now. He has a friend. Sorry, that was a lot of bird interruption. Anyway, what was I even talking about? Oh, Arthurian legend and the Knights of the Round Table. Like, the themes of the Knights of the Round Table, I feel like, are a lot of, like, chivalry and protecting people's honor and doing good things for God, right? That's, like, kind of the whole point. And you can argue that they weren't good people. The Crusades did a lot of damage, and I see that. So maybe that's the point. Like, maybe that's the point of, like, these men weren't actually that good. I don't know. I feel like I need to do more research on it, but if you have read Tortilla Flat and you have thoughts and opinions about it, or you know more context behind Tortilla Flat that you'd like to share with me, please let me know, because I am curious about that, and I think I will do some of my own research, just because I'm like, I don't know, I feel like maybe I kind of missed the point a little bit. But with that being said, I think even if you miss the point, you can still not enjoy a book. Like, I know, especially when it comes to classics, a lot of people, if you say, oh, I didn't enjoy that classic, they will immediately chime in with, oh, well, you just didn't get it. You just don't get it. That's why you just didn't get it. You're just not smart enough. I disagree. I don't think that's true. I think there are instances where maybe you didn't fully understand the concept and that made you like the book less. And then once you fully understand the concept, you're like, oh, okay, now I understand. Maybe I like it a little bit more. But I think also, just because it's a classic doesn't automatically mean it's for everybody. No book is for everybody. So all I'm saying is don't come at me being like, you just didn't understand it. Because maybe I didn't. But also I didn't enjoy my time reading it. And that does play into, you know, what I rate a book or how I really feel about it. Because I think overall my rating is going to be like a 2.5, which is just sad and so low for Steinbeck. But I'm not giving up. I'm not giving up on my Steinbeck journey. Have I even showed you? I don't think I've showed you guys. I posted on my Instagram. I don't think you can really call it bingo because it's not set up as bingo, but it's like a reading list that I made. I made this. So it's a Steinbeck reading list. So the ones that are colored in are the ones that I have read, and my goal is to read all of these. So I'm not giving up on this goal. I'm just saying that I didn't like Tortilla Flat as much as I wanted to. Wow. That was a lot of rambling for one person, but welcome to my life. Anyway, next up, when it comes to reading, I have so many books checked out, and I need to read them because when I have too many books checked out, it actually kind of stresses me out because I'm like, I need to read these before my, oh, I forgot to return that. When I have too many books stressed out, yes. When I have too many books stressed out, I have only three. I only have 3 books checked out, but A Desolation Called Peace I know is going to be, I'll have to turn my brain on for that one because I had to turn my brain on for A Memory Called Empire and I enjoyed that about it, but I know I'm going to have to do it for Desolation Called Peace as well. And then I have On Writing by Stephen King and A Witch's Guide to Magical Innkeeping by Sangu Mandana, which I think will be an easy read because it's kind of like a nice little cozy fantasy. I don't know how long On Writing is. It'll be my first Stephen King and maybe my only one because I'm not a huge horror person. But I thought it would be, I was like, this will be an interesting way. I don't need to explain every thought I've ever had to you. The point is, I'm going to start reading A Desolation Called Peace, which is the sequel to A Memory Called Empire, and I'll check in with you at some point about it and let you know how my time is going and how many more birds I see, I guess. And I'll catch you later. I'll keep you updated. Okay, hello. So, to give you an update, I can't remember exactly what the numbers were last time I updated you, to be honest. I have not upped any more time on my crocheting and reading. Haven't done it at the same time. But I have been working on crochet only. Oh, let's see if I can do this math real quick. Let's see. I am at 5 hours. Woo! 5 hours of crochet only, so I only need 3 more hours. And I'm at, let's see, should we do the reading math really quick too? And I'm at 3.5 hours for reading only. So, I am also about halfway through A Desolation of Peace. I think I'll talk to you about the book itself once I finish it, mostly because I need to review the synopsis and see how much I'm allowed to tell you since it's a sequel and some things were kind of complicated. I don't want to spoil anything. I am enjoying it so far though. I'm really enjoying it. And I have now finished the front and back panel and seamed them together. So, this is what it looks like before blocking. So obviously this is going to stretch more this way and down a little bit, but, oh, yeah. So that's all the way up there. So this will be stretched down more, hopefully enough, because I don't want it to be this cropped, but I think it'll be okay. So yes, it's looking good, it's looking nice, it feels nice. So now I am going to block this. So basically you do front, back, seam them, block, and then you do the collar, and then you do you start in on the sleeves. And you block each sleeve one at a time so that you can make sure you have the length right. So, kind of a process. But this is the bulk of it, right? Like, this is most of it. I think the sleeves are going to go a lot faster, especially because, like, I really have a very firm grasp of how to do these stitches. I'm going to get to blocking this. I'm going to read some more. I have to film another video, so I need to film and edit that video. And then hopefully I can get to more reading tonight because I'm really enjoying my book. I only have 5 days left to read it, and I have 3 other books checked out because I don't know if I updated you on this, I also checked out We Have Always Lived in the Castle by Shirley Jackson. Because my hold came off and I was like, ooh, I should read that. So I have a lot of reading to do, so I need to get to that. But the crochet only portion is almost complete, and we're making really good progress on this one. I'm feeling really good about it. So I'm gonna update you when this is all blocked and dried, and I'm not gonna start my sleeves for this until this is finished blocking. That way I can really see how much it stretches, because I know, like, I found this pattern from Cindy Graham. She had made this and she had a lot of issues with it, and she had to remake it multiple times because when she blocked it, it was like way bigger than she wanted it to be. And so I don't want that to happen to me. So I am going to wait to start on the sleeves until this is finished with its blocking process. So yeah, that's where we're at. I'll update you probably when this is done blocking, and then we'll go from there. Okay, so this is done blocking, and the very unfortunate news is that I'm gonna have to frog this and start over, because even with blocking, this is still really cropped. Like, I consider this sweater to be a little bit, it's right where I like it to hit, where it's not quite too cropped. And this is, I mean, that's a good 6 inches. And in the back, it's like, it's just, this is too cropped. So, what, baby? I got a very fussy baby today. But I am going to frog this. And I'm thinking maybe I'll size up to a large, and then maybe even add like a few inches or something to the bottom, because this is a medium, and I feel like even as far as like the width here and stretching it around, it's just going to be really tight, and I don't want it to be tight. I'd rather it fit like this sweater that I'm wearing, where it's a little more loose and oversized. It's really comfortable. So that's like 10 hours or more, maybe even closer to 15 down the drain. But that's okay, because we're learning and we're growing, and I definitely know how to do this stitch. So, because like the back panel worked up way faster than the front panel, because I'd already made it and I knew what to do. I'm gonna go frog this. We're gonna start over. So that'll give us lots of hours to add on to our reading and crocheting time. But that's the update. I finished a Desolation called Peace. And I'm really very disappointed to tell you that it's going to be a 3.75 for me. In this book, you are following Mahit from the first book, and her and 3 Seagrass are basically doing first contact with the alien species that is attacking the Empire. And then you're also following some other perspectives as well. I did like the other perspectives. I felt like the pacing was a little too slow for this one. The first one, I feel like it took a bit to get into, but I feel like a lot of that was understanding the world. But now that we're in the second book and we're already in the world, I expected it to be a little bit snappier, because it's like we know how things work. But there was just a lot in there that I was like, okay, it did add to it, but I don't feel like it was super necessary, and it did kind of slow things down quite a bit. And then there was some sexual content that I just really didn't. I don't like reading that kind of stuff. That's not my preference. I'm not a spice reader at all. If it's in books, I skip past it, or I DNF if it's too much. And it was towards the end of the book, but what annoyed me is, like, you know, it was like tense political situations where there's like really important things happening, and then certain characters are like only thinking about that, and it's like, okay, let's focus on the problem at hand here. So that was something that annoyed me. But yeah, so we'll see. I'm guessing there will probably be a third book. I'm not sure. It hasn't been announced, so I'll keep my eye out for it, and if a third one sounds interesting, then maybe I'll read it. But I do still really recommend A Memory Called Empire, because I think that one was really, really well done. And A Desolation Called Peace. Anyway, I'm gonna go take care of this grumpy boy, and I'll check back in with you later. Okay, I think that I'm going to call it here. Now, let's go over some final statistics. I did read over the 8 hours of reading only. So I read 10 hours. The other 2 is where it gets a little dicey. I crocheted for 7 hours, so I'm only an hour short, and I crocheted and read at the same time for 1 hour. Now, I know what you're thinking. Sandy, that does not add up to 24 hours. And no, it does not. But I think I need to stop. And just be honest with you guys, my health has been the worst that it has been in a long time. This past month has been extremely rough for me health-wise, and so I'm just gonna stop this challenge before it becomes the end of me. But I did finish 2 more books, so I would like to tell you about those, and I am bummed that I wasn't able to finish my sweater. If I hadn't had to redo it, I think I probably would have, but, you know, that's the way it goes sometimes. Thank you for your patience with me as I was able to not quite finish this challenge completely. But I did read in total 4 books in a total of 10 hours. So I feel like that's pretty good. The 2 books that I finished were On Writing by Stephen King and A Witch's Guide to Magical Innkeeping by Sangu Mandana. So let's talk about On Writing first. I really, really enjoyed this book. I haven't read any other Stephen King's, so any fiction written by him. So there were some things that I know were references to his books, but I didn't quite get because I haven't read them or seen any of the movies or anything. Honestly, just because I'm a big baby. So if you have any recommendations, Stephen King recommendations for me that are not super, super gory, let me know. But I found it really interesting. So the first part of the book is kind of like a memoir, a reflection of his life and growing up and what led him to writing. And then the second half is like actual advice on how to write good books, basically. So I did really enjoy it. I will say I enjoyed the memoir part a little bit more. I think Stephen King has had a pretty interesting life. His childhood was sad in a lot of ways. He had a single mom, but I really loved the way he credited both his mom and his wife in inspiring him and pushing him to continue even when things were hard. I also really admired his honesty and upfrontness about his cocaine addiction and his alcoholism and how it really almost destroyed his life. And his wife is the one who was like, you know what, you gotta stop. You gotta stop doing cocaine. Oh, sorry. I didn't mean to kick you there. So I really admired the way that he spoke about both his wife and his mother. And then as far as like the actual writing advice, I thought it was really good and really interesting. I don't have plans to write anything anytime soon, but something that he mentioned in the book was that if you want to be a good writer, you have to be a good reviewer. And for me, I want to be a good reviewer. So I think that it's kind of like a little bit of an Uno reverse there, right? Like I'm reading this advice about writing, and I've thought about the different advice that he's given throughout his book as I read A Witch's Guide to Magical Innkeeping. I noticed little things that he had mentioned, and I was like, oh, that's a great, use of this thing or whatever. So yeah, I really enjoyed it, and I think that if you are somebody who would like to write a book or anything, really, you want to improve your writing in any way, I think this is a fantastic book to read, and it doesn't only apply to horror or sci-fi, so if you don't write in those genres, I think it could still be extremely applicable to you. Because he talks a lot about, like, that you have a toolbox of your writing tools, your writing abilities, and it's about crafting from that toolbox. And he talks about how, for him, a lot of the times a story is like uncovering a fossil, where you have to dig for it sometimes, and then once that fossil starts being uncovered, you use those tools in your toolbox to get it all the way out and make it a fully formed thing. So I really enjoyed it. I thought that it was extremely interesting and also humorous. I think that he has a fun sense of humor, and it did make me want to read his fiction, even though I am such a baby. So, I don't know, maybe I'll look into like which of his books are the least scary and try a few of them out. I have no desire to read some of them. Like, it, absolutely no way. I am terrified of clowns. I have been terrified of clowns for my entire life. I will not ever read it or watch the movies because they just scare me so bad. So that's not going to be happening. And I also don't have any desire to read like Pet Sematary or, you know, some of those like really, really scary ones. I will say Misery has always intrigued me, but I've heard it does get a little gross. So I don't know. But overall, I really enjoyed this book. I enjoyed learning more about Stephen King's life. I mean, obviously, he's an incredibly successful author, so I do think he has good things to say about writing and the industry and you know, what motivated him to keep going. And like I said, I really love the way that he talked about both his wife and his mother. So that was On Writing by Stephen King. And then the next book that I read was A Witch's Guide to Magical Innkeeping by Sangu Mandana. This book is so sweet and cute and cozy. I really, really enjoyed it. So basically, you are following this witch named Sarah, and when she is, how old is she? I think she's like an early teen. Her great aunt, who she lives with, passes away, and she brings her back to life with her magic. But in bringing her back to life, she loses the majority of her magic. She did not know that that would happen when she went into it. And then she also became kind of like an outcast. Within the magical community, she was exiled because it is against their laws to bring people back from the dead, essentially. And so you are following her on a journey as she's trying to get her magic back. And then she also runs this really sweet inn. And basically, one of the historians from the manor place where they teach people about magic, I don't know what was it called? I don't know, just the place. The place where the witches are. Hogwarts, if you will. Anyway, he's a historian from there. And he ends up at the inn and, you know, things go from there. I am not a romance fan. I'm not. I'll say it. But I loved this book. I really did. I thought that it was so sweet. And one thing that I really liked is Luke comes with his younger sister named Posey, and she has autism. And a lot of the book is about how all of these characters, all of the side characters, and Sarah and Luke, they don't feel accepted. They don't feel like they have a place that they can call home, and they kind of create this little family together because they don't feel welcome within their own families or their own communities, within the guild of witches. They don't feel welcome. And so I really enjoyed the way that it was handled and the way that the characters were all able to interact with Posey and not make her feel less than, or that she wasn't worthy of being there just because she was autistic, and that they, you know, even though they had a hard time understanding her or what her needs were, because she's a nonverbal. She's nonverbal for the most part. She says a few things, but, you know, her communication skills are not super, super high, right? And so I really enjoyed the way that that was handled and the found family aspect of it. I will say, if you've read this book, did you also picture Nicholas as Kirk from Gilmore Girls? Because the entire time I could only think of him as Kirk, because they act kind of similar. But anyway, just overall, I think this book was a really fun read and very cozy and sweet, but not too, like, saccharine. And I enjoyed the messaging. I enjoyed the messaging of, you know, that you can find a family wherever, and that you can be that place for somebody. You can be the person who accepts somebody and brings them in and helps them feel welcome and loved. And so, yeah, I think that the ending is a little bit controversial. I'll just do a little spoiler section real quick. So, in the ending, Sarah, she's able to get back her magic, but she has to fight off her mentor guy who taught her a lot of things, Albert Gray, because he is like the most powerful witch in the area, and he wants to be all powerful and rule over people. And she loses her magic
fighting him so that he no longer has magic. Like, they do like a spell where it's like she takes his magic and loses her magic. And I know a lot of people didn't love that, but I think that really the whole point of the book was that she didn't need her magic. That her magic was her and her personality and being loving and being kind and bringing people in. That is what her magic was. And kind of, you know, the magical inn aspect of it, like the inn itself had the spell that brought people in. That was her spell. That was her magic that was doing that, right? And so I think a lot of people were like, oh, it's so dumb that she ended up losing her magic in the end anyway. But I don't think so, because I think that it's showing that you can be happy despite your circumstances. You can be happy even if what you want isn't given to you in the way you think that it should be. I think that happens to us in life a lot of times. There's a lot of, you know, ways that we think things should happen and they don't happen that way. And you can be happy despite that. So yeah, overall, I really enjoyed that book. I will say I gave it a 4.5. The only reason it wasn't a 5-star for me is that there is a sex scene. So me personally, I don't like reading that content, so I always skip over it. I will say it was really easy for me to just kind of like choop, 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 skip right through, but just putting that out there for you so you know there is an open door sex scene. So if you would like to avoid that like I did, it was pretty easy to just flip past it, but yeah. So that was A Witch's Guide to Magical Innkeeping by Sangu Mandana. I enjoyed it. So that's where we are. Thank you for being here. Sorry that my chronic illness ruins everything. That's kind of how I feel in general right now, but you know, things will hopefully get better soon and I'll have more energy to do more fun things, but yeah, don't expect me to do anything for 24 hours anytime soon because it's just not very realistic, but that's okay. And I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye!